Hello guys, so this is my review of the new G20, also called new. It's already 2 years ago when the G20 was presented, but here is my review of my own G20 320D. So it's a 2-liter diesel, a rear wheel drive. So let's start with visuals and then we'll continue inside. So in terms of visuals, the car is brilliant in my opinion. So it looks stunning. I really admire black color. I really love it. I used to have M2 competition before it in black. Color doesn't matter to me that much actually, but I really prefer black color. I like black color. It looks business and it's really serious and it's a cool color. And look at those wheels. They're also black. And it's a really cool design. I think these are my favorite discs ever. Oh shit, there's a train passing nearby, sorry guys. So the car in my opinion looks really great. You can see it yourself. I strongly believe that it looks almost like my M2 competition in black, almost. So it lacks a bit of aggressiveness the M2 had. But the design is really smooth. It's really BMW original design. No big kidney grills, which I don't like. And look at those laser beams, look at those lights. They're really cool. Sorry guys, the car is not really clean. I didn't have a time to clean it properly for you, but still you can see that the car is pretty clean. For me, it's a good condition. I don't really pay much attention to cleaning my car, really. So let's go inside, because outside it's quite cold, so I'm afraid iPhone will black out again, like yesterday when I was filming the Russian part. So let's go inside. So inside, as you can see, the car is really beautiful as well. I fell in love with this interior of G20. So it really looks modern. It looks very good quality, and I really prefer this M Sport option package with this super nice seats with Alcantara and leather combined, mechanical seats, which saves some weight as well. You know, I started paying attention to weight when I started tracking my cars. So this car is as light as possible. It's rear-wheel drive, which is very fun. So talking about rear-wheel drive, if you prefer, let me sit inside because it's quite cold outside. Not that cold as yesterday. Today is -10, but still pretty cold. So talking about rear-wheel drive. If you are really a car geek and you prefer classical rear-wheel drive and you like doing some skids and drifts, and you're not afraid to turn your DSC off, so this is a car for you, which can give you a lot of you know, old school fun. But if you live in a place where you have snow for like 2 months, 3 months, please consider X-Drive. It's a lot of fun as well. And I really love X-Drive G20. We have it in car sharing here in Russia, and it's really excellent. The car setup is, you know, I first drove it 1 year ago, and I was so surprised. I was driving them to competition side by side with this car, and this car surprised me a lot. It's a perfect value for money. You know, M2 competition is not an expensive car, but it's not cheap. So you have some expenses here in Russia and abroad as well, even bigger, and the price is even higher, because in Russia we have cars which for the same cars we have kind of lower prices and maybe lower taxes in some points. So M2 competition was an expensive car. I used to track it a lot. So for me, M2 competition was mostly for the track. For the city, it wasn't really comfortable because I travel a lot in traffic jams, and you know, it's a waste of resource, I would say. If you drive into competition and traffic jam, is a pain. You know, it's not beautiful. This car handles traffic jams perfectly, brilliantly, you know. And M2 competition is not for traffic jams, it's for free drives, you know, at least in the mountains, or you know, so you need some free space to clear the throttle, you know, and and to depress the pedal, you know, to the metal. Usually when I was driving into competition, I almost never pressed you know, the pedal properly. Here you can always go full throttle everywhere, so it's kind of fun. So talking about rear wheel drive, if you really love rear wheel drive, buy this car. In winter it's a lot of fun. For my Moscow experience this year, you know, every year is different. This year is a very snowy winter. You can see outside. Look at this shit. So I don't remember such a you know, snowy winter for a long time. So a lot of snow everywhere, and on the road as well. So we had like 2-3 weeks of intense snowing every day, and snow everywhere, like 10-15 centimeters on the road. So I'm driving this car for 2 weeks, and in the last 2 weeks we had a lot of snow. So I drove the car in different conditions, and you know, first I was a little bit depressed, you know, because first I bought the car and went to my country house, and it was ice on the road, and rear wheel drive, DC off, you know, I hardly could go straight, and I was a little bit disappointed. But then I started you know, driving more and more, and on ice it's a problem on you know, every drive, but on simple snow, on you know, icy road, not ice but icy road, and frozen road, it's okay. You can accelerate properly, but I drive without DSC, so DSC off only, because I hate DSC lagging like 2-3 seconds when you want to go from 0 to say 50, and it just doesn't let you go the first 2-3 seconds, so I don't really like. So if you want to drive this car in winter conditions with snow, be ready to depress this DSC button, because the car is fun with DSC off. With DSC on is you know, is a car for disabled people, and is not fun. But like if you are new to cars and you want some good experience, you can buy this car, drive it with DSC on first, like for half a year, then drive it with DSC partially off, so it's a traction control, and then you can just learn the car, go to different open spaces with a coach, and train some drifting. It helps a lot to drive safely on the road. So I like the car. For me, it's perfect fun. It is about 1.5 tons. It has rear wheel drive, and the weight is almost minimal for this G20 series. So yes, it's the maximum sporty, you know, option package for G20. So we have adaptive M Sport suspension. I used to drive the car sharing car. I used to drive with passive suspension, M Sport suspension, which is 1 millimeter lower, 1 centimeter lower than this car. Or maybe not, actually, than the standard car, sorry. So passive, I kind of like it. You know, many people say they don't like it, but I really enjoyed that car. It's a beautiful experience, and for a simple 2-liter diesel, you know, is a beautiful car, is a sports car. This car set up a little bit differently. I need to drive side by side with the xDrive version of car sharing, but this car is set up a little bit differently. It's almost the same, but there are some minor differences in steering, like at least what I feel. In steering, in throttle response, and in suspension setup. There are some minor differences, and I would say, honestly, that xDrive is a better car. They are very different. This car is very close, but overall X-Drive is a better car. For me, yeah, I wouldn't change this car for a long time, I'm sure, because I really love it. And there's a good value for money, and is a perfect all-rounder, you know, for all my city driving, for fun drives, for drifts, for going to country house. So it's one car for all, which M2 competition wasn't. I use car sharing to go to many places instead of using M2. Yes, M2 is a fun car, you know, it's a second car, it's a track car, but it's not... I used M2s for 3 years as a daily. I can say a lot about it. And it's not the best daily. And it has some limits, of course. But it depends on your lifestyle, you know. You can perfectly use it as a daily in your conditions. But for my conditions, it wasn't... I used it for 3 years as a daily, but it wasn't an ideal daily. So what else? Adaptive suspension and sport suspension. So using these regimes like sport and comfort, you can adapt your suspension, which is nice. Before in my M2s I had passive suspension, which is always sport, and in car sharing car you have passive suspension and sport suspension, which is cool. But some people don't like it because it's quite firm and it doesn't forgive big holes on the road. This car is different, so it's a little bit more comfortable. Even it is a rear-wheel drive, it is more comfortable, I would say. In sport, it's a little bit softer, and the car is better. I would say this suspension is better set up. Maybe they reworked some algorithms, you know, in the suspension and electric setup of the suspension, because this suspension it forgives you the big holes. It lets you have pretty comfortable ride, sporty but comfortable. And in comfort, is a good comfortable car. I never thought actually that I would drive a car in comfort ever, you know, but here in this car I really love comfort mode. So also in this car you have ZF 8-speed gearbox, but it's also M Sport option. So you have sport gearbox here, like just an algorithm. You can easily rework it yourself, like using the port, but here it's already included. And with this option goes these pedal shifters. Actually, I never used them so far, maybe in the summer, but so far I'm happy with the setup of this engine, 2-liter engine, and this gearbox is just a very, very nice setup. I wouldn't mind having Sport Plus programmed here. I can do it, but actually in the last 1 or 2 years I prefer keeping the cars stock. You know, I'm a bit tired of modifying my cars, and I just really love the beauty of stock cars when they are well made. So this car is really well made. So it's a beautiful outside. So let's sum up, guys, because I don't want to make it a super long video like in my Russian part yesterday when I spent almost 1 hour non-stop filming the car. But here I want to just focus on the main points and don't waste your and my time. So summing up, did I say anything? Everything. Let me think. So we discussed the gearbox. The steering. Sorry. One really important thing about the car is the option 2VL. It's called 2VL, is a adaptive M Sport steering, which is included in this car. So it makes the steering sharp around 0 and less sharp else. So in a standard car you have equal length, equal sensitivity of your steering wheel, which I don't like. And it's the steering wheel in a standard car, standard G20, is very long. It's 2.5 turns in each side, from side to side, sorry. And here is shorter. I don't remember, maybe it's 2 turns or something, but it's shorter. And it's more sensitive around 0, which I love. You have all your car around 0. You can quickly change directions, and it's not the change in steering from 0 to the lock, say, is not abrupt. It's not harsh. It's continuous. So it's very understandable and very logical. So it's a cool steering option, and really I would advise, if you want a sporty car, sporty feel, because this car really feels like M car, almost like M car for me. And I would advise having this option. So M Sport options. Here you have M Sport suspension, adaptive suspension, but still M Sport. You have 2VL option, adaptive M Sport steering. You have sport gearbox with pedal shifters. And you have M Sport brakes. Sorry, I always forget about brakes. Let's go and have a look at the sport brakes. Because for me this option really makes a difference. Look at these big brakes. They barely fit in these 18 wheels. Look, they're stunning. Very nice big discs, brake discs, and very nice caliper, almost like an M2, original M2. In my M2 competition I used to have big calipers, but it's another talk, another story. So I love how they look, and they're really effective in stopping your car. And standard brakes really, really shit. Don't buy standard brakes, even if you can, because in some countries I think you can't option your car with standard brakes. So this car has all the M Sport options. It's a beautiful car. M Sport seats. So summing up, guys. Summing up. I think I discussed everything. So this car is a really great value. It's a great car with M Sport options. For me, it only works with M Sport options. I drove the original car, standard car. It's good, but it's not that cool. So if you want a good value for money and still a sporty car, which can bring you a lot of fun, so buy a car with M Sport options. So M Sport brakes again, M Sport seats, very cool seats, very comfortable, especially in cold weather and in hot as well. M Sport steering, which looks nice. M Sport gearbox with pedal shifters, which is not necessary but kind of cool and shifts a little bit faster, but you can always install it afterwards if you want. I don't want, I'm happy I have it. So M Sport suspension is a must. Buy it adaptive if you want to play a little bit, but for me M Sport passive was okay. And also from outside you saw the laser light. Laser light is not a must, I would say. They are bright, maybe a little bit brighter than the LED lights, but honestly I don't care much. They look cool, but I wouldn't necessarily spec them. In terms of colors, upon your preference, I like black color, I like blue color. I really love blue color, but I bought this car because it was a really good price. And what else? So rear wheel drive is a really cool old school car. If you want to have some pure fun and learn the car, work on your car, work on your driving, buy rear wheel drive. If you want an effective car for winter times, especially if you live in an area where there is a lot of snow, buy X-Drive. It's very fun. It's like a cool magic. Honestly, I drove X-Drive in snow in different conditions, the G20 from car sharing, and it's a cool car. Even with DC on, you have a lot of fun, and the car really drives fantastically. It's very effective in winter. So I bought this car rear wheel drive because I really love rear wheel drive, and because it was cheaper. Like if we're talking euros, it was like 3,500 euro cheaper than the X-Drive car. So it's not a big difference, but this car is lighter without X-Drive. This car is more simple and you can work on it. So for me, if it was the same price, I would take X-Drive. Maybe even X-Drive, if X-Drive was a little bit more expensive. But for 3,500 euro, no, I would prefer rear wheel drive. So it's up to you guys. So I hope this review was useful. Put a like if you like the video, and please subscribe. I hope to post some new and useful videos here from Moscow, Russia. So if you like, please subscribe. Thank you.